Beneath the endless beauty of the Grand Canyon lies a mystery that few dare to speak about. While millions of people visit the canyon each year to see its breathtaking cliffs and rivers, there are places inside this vast land that the public is forbidden to enter. These restricted zones are sealed off with warnings, guarded by secrecy, and surrounded by strange stories. Today, you will hear the chilling account of an investigator who went beyond the warning signs and discovered something terrifying hidden deep within the Grand Canyon. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about this natural wonder. The Grand Canyon is one of the most visited wonders of the world, stretching for over 270 miles. Tourists see it as a place of beauty, adventure, and nature's masterpiece. But hidden inside its walls are areas the government has declared completely off-limits. No hiking, no camping, no flying drones. It's as if these zones are protecting a secret, something so dark, so unexplainable that ordinary people must never see it. Our investigators set out to uncover why these places are forbidden, and what he found will haunt you. He began his journey by speaking with locals who live near the canyon their entire lives. Some told stories of lights moving inside the cliffs at night. Others swore they heard voices echoing from caves where no human could possibly be. There were even whispers of explorers who entered certain caves and never returned. The deeper he dug, the more he realized the Grand Canyon is not just a place of beauty, but a land filled with hidden danger and mystery. As he researched further, the investigator discovered something shocking: ancient newspaper articles dating back to the early 1900s that spoke of strange ruins found inside the canyon. According to the reports, explorers had uncovered what looked like man-made tunnels, with carvings and artifacts that didn't belong to Native American culture. Some claimed these ruins pointed to an ancient civilization buried in the canyon, one that official history refuses to acknowledge. But the government quickly locked down those areas, declaring them restricted for safety reasons. Determined to see for himself, the investigator planned a trip into one of the forbidden zones. He studied maps, analyzed flight restrictions, and followed old trails that no longer appear on modern guides. The deeper he hiked, the quieter the canyon became, as if nature itself was warning him to turn back. His heart raced with each step, because he knew that what he was about to find could change everything we know about the Grand Canyon. After hours of moving through rugged terrain, he stumbled upon an opening in the cliffside. It wasn't just any cave; it looked like an entrance carved by human hands. The walls were smooth, as if shaped by tools, not by nature. Dust covered the ground, and the air inside was heavy, still, and cold. He knew instantly that this was no ordinary cave. This was the doorway into a mystery that had been hidden for centuries. Inside, the darkness swallowed him whole. He used a flashlight, but even the beams seemed weak against the thick blackness of the cave. Strange markings appeared on the walls, symbols that looked ancient, unlike anything he had seen before. Some resembled animals, others looked like stars, and a few were symbols he couldn't identify at all. The deeper he went, the stronger the feeling grew that he was trespassing into something sacred or cursed. Suddenly he heard a sound. It wasn't the echo of his footsteps, nor the dripping of water. It was something else. Like a whisper carried through the stone walls. His skin crawled as he froze in place. He shined his light around the cave, but no one was there. And yet the whisper came again, clearer this time, almost forming words he couldn't understand. Terrified but determined, he pressed on. The cave twisted deeper into the canyon wall, leading him to a chamber that took his breath away. The walls were lined with massive stone carvings, faces with hollow eyes staring back at him. In the center was a large stone structure that looked like an altar, worn by time but still standing tall. Around it lay fragments of broken pottery and tools, as if an entire culture had once thrived there, then vanished without a trace. At that moment, he realized why the government might have sealed this place. If these ruins were real, they could rewrite history. They proved that an ancient civilization existed inside the Grand Canyon, a civilization far older and more advanced than anything we've been taught. But the real question was, why keep it a secret? And what force still lingers in these caves that makes even the bravest feel unwelcome?
The investigator carefully documented what he saw, taking photos and notes, but the deeper he explored, the stronger the sense of unease became. It felt as though unseen eyes were watching him. The air grew heavier, almost suffocating, and every sound echoed like a warning. He could no longer tell if his fear came from the darkness itself or from something alive within those walls. As he moved deeper, he noticed a narrow passage leading even further underground. The path was so tight, he had to squeeze through, scraping against the cold stone. On the other side, he entered a vast chamber that seemed impossible to exist beneath the canyon. The ceiling stretched high above him, and the floor was littered with shattered objects, as if someone or something had tried to destroy the evidence of what once stood there. In the corner of the chamber, his flashlight revealed something he could hardly believe. A series of stone statues stood in a row, each one shaped like a human figure, but with exaggerated, almost alien features. Their eyes were large, their heads elongated, and their hands extended forward as if reaching out. The carvings were so precise, they looked alive. He felt a chill crawl down his spine. Who had built these? And why were they hidden away in the canyon's forbidden depths? The silence of the chamber was broken again by that same low whisper. This time, it was closer. He spun around, shining his light across the room, but once again, no one was there. Yet the whispers seemed to be coming from the statues themselves, as though voices were trapped inside the stone, echoing from the past. His pulse raced as he realized he might not be alone down there. Suddenly, his flashlight flickered, dimming until the chamber was nearly dark. He smacked the light, desperate to keep it alive, but the batteries drained faster than normal, as if the very energy was being pulled out of it. For a moment, he stood in near darkness, hearing the whispers grow louder. Then the light came back, but he wished it hadn't, because what he saw next froze him in place. There was movement. At the far end of the chamber, a shadow slipped along the wall, moving without sound. It wasn't his own shadow. This one shifted independently, stretching and bending unnaturally. He couldn't see what it was, only that something was there, watching. His instincts screamed at him to leave, but his curiosity held him back just long enough to snap a photo before retreating toward the passage. Crawling back through the narrow tunnel, his hands shook so badly he almost dropped his gear. The deeper whispers seemed to follow him, growing faint only as he reached the original cave entrance. When he finally burst out into the open air, the sun had already set, and the canyon around him was painted in shadows. Relief washed over him, but so did fear, because he knew what he had just uncovered was too important to ignore. Back at his camp, he reviewed the photos he had taken. Most were clear. Carvings, ruins, strange symbols. But one photo made his blood run cold. In the corner of the chamber, shot, just barely visible, was a figure. It looked like a human silhouette, but distorted, its limbs too long, its face blurred as if hidden behind some unseen veil, yet it was unmistakably there. Something had been inside that chamber with him. The investigator began to understand why the canyon's forbidden zones exist. They are not simply about safety or wildlife protection. They are walls guarding secret ancient civilizations, strange entities, and forces that cannot be explained. Secrets that, if revealed, would shake the world's understanding of history and of reality itself. But he also knew one thing for certain. The deeper truth of the Grand Canyon is far more terrifying than anyone could imagine. He thought about going public with his story, releasing the photos, the evidence, and his notes. But he also feared what might happen if he did. Would the government silence him? Would people even believe him? Or worse, would whatever he encountered inside that cave come looking for him if he exposed its existence? The forbidden zones of the Grand Canyon are forbidden for a reason, and now he knew that reason all too well. That night, the investigator barely slept. Every sound outside his tent made him jump. The rustling of the wind through the canyon sounded like whispers. The call of distant animals echoed like footsteps. He couldn't shake the image of that blurred figure from his mind. It wasn't just his imagination, it was real, and he had proof. But proof can be both a gift and a curse. The next morning, he decided to leave the canyon before venturing any further. As he packed up, he noticed something strange. His compass spun wildly, unable to settle on a direction. His GPS showed errors, as if the canyon itself was blocking signals. It was almost as though the land didn't want him to leave, trapping him within its maze of cliffs and shadows. He pushed forward anyway, determined to make it out. On the trail, he came across an old wooden sign, half buried in the dirt. The paint had faded, but he could still read the words. "Do not enter. Restricted zone." His stomach turned as he realized he had been far beyond any area the public was allowed to go. If anyone caught him there, he could be arrested. but something told him the danger wasn't he from the lot, was from whatever lived inside those caves. When he finally returned to civilization, he tried sharing his story. Some people listened with wide eyes, others laughed it off as nothing but a campfire tale. Yet when he showed his photos, the laughter stopped. A few people grew pale and silent, refusing to comment. One man, a retired ranger, quietly warned him to destroy the evidence before it was too late. The ranger whispered that others before him had found similar things and they all disappeared. The investigator's paranoia grew. He noticed strange vehicles outside his home, unmarked and quiet. His emails were suddenly hacked. Friends who knew about his trip urged him to forget it, to move on, to never mention the canyon again. But how could he? He had seen things no human should ever see. He had stood inside forbidden chambers and felt the presence of something ancient watching him. Late one night, as he reviewed his notes, he heard knocking at his door. When he opened it, no one was there, only an envelope resting on the ground. Inside was a single photo. His heart dropped. It was the same photo he had taken in the chamber, but this one was different. The figure in the corner was clearer now. Its long limbs, more defined, its hollow eyes staring directly at him. Someone had enhanced the photo, and someone wanted him to see it. From that night on, the whispers returned. Not in the canyon, but in his own home. Sometimes they came from the walls, sometimes from his dreams. He began to wonder if the presence inside that cave had followed him back. The air in his house grew colder. Shadows seemed to move when he wasn't looking, and every reflection he caught in the mirror made his stomach twist with dread. He realized the truth. Once you enter the forbidden zone of the Grand Canyon, you never truly leave it. The secrets buried there are not just ancient history, they are alive, awake, and aware of anyone who dares to uncover them. He had gone searching for answers, but now he was living with the curse of knowledge. The chilling story of this investigator is a warning. The Grand Canyon may look like a place of beauty and wonder, but its hidden depths tell a darker story. The forbidden zones are forbidden for a reason, not just to protect the land, but to protect us from what sleeps beneath it. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, and some doors should never be opened. So the next time you stand at the edge of the Grand Canyon, staring into its endless depths, remember this story. Beneath those cliffs, in the shadows of forbidden caves, lies something ancient and terrifying, something that watches, waits, and whispers. And if you ever feel the urge to cross a sign that says restricted zone, ask yourself one question. Are you ready for what waits inside?